Hello, students. A very good afternoon to you, and I hope you are all doing well, being at home. And I hope you have listened to my previous lecture also on this topic, that is the rape of the lock. And let me continue from where I have stopped, sharing the screen. So, in the previous class, we have stopped with the dream of Belinda, wherein that in the dream, actually, the sylph Ariel is instructing Belinda to be careful, and also Ariel explained how the beautiful ladies and virgins like Belinda or the care of the sylphs, and they actually sometimes play mischiefs also, and how many different kinds of sylphs are there. That also Ariel explained, and finally it gave a warning to Belinda that there is some dread event that is going to happen to Belinda, but it says that heaven is not disclosing what is that and how and where it will be happening. So, um, Ariel advises Belinda to be careful with every thing, but especially to be aware of, man. So that is what we have seen in the previous lines. That is Belinda's dream. So he said, so Ariel is given the masculine gender, and now he says, when Shock, who thought she slept too long, leaped up and waked his mistress with his tongue. So, see, we have in the beginning seen that Belinda is having a lapdog, which of course sleeps with her on the bed, and this, after waking up, felt that her its mistress is sleeping for a long time. So it jumped on to her and waked her up with a kiss with its tongue. It was then Belinda, if reports say true, thy eyes first opened on a billet dukes. So then it is a Shock who could shook Belinda out of sleep, and Belinda immediately when she opens her eyes, thy eyes first opened on a billet dukes. Billet dukes is a love letter, and where, in spite of all the warnings that she received in the dream by the spirit Ariel, of course, ironically, Belinda's eyes were open onto the love letter only. There she read wounds, charms, and orders were no sooner read. How love letters are often written with the blood, or with the flattering words or praise of beauty, and maybe with a good scented paper, etc. That is why Pope uses all these words here, and she of course immediately have gone through that letter. See, the irony is at the highest in these lines, because Belinda, who wakes up just at 12, so that is what he used. At 12 is the morning for the sleepless lovers, and immediately after waking up, what is the work she is doing? It is nothing but reading the love letter. So in these lines, actually Pope is explaining the life of young ladies, and how they were very much occupied with you know love letters or men, etc. So of course, though they may not be engaged in other ways, they are always having a kind of flirty kind of mind, which is focused more on the beauty, and then their love, and of course attracting men, and also they are very much interested to read the love letters. So now we can see in the following lines that when Belinda is very much eager to read the letter, so how come that she rejected the love of the young man? That we will see here. So, in spite of Ariel's warnings, Belinda only to read, opened her eyes only to read the love letter first, and all the vision vanished from thy head. So it so happened that the vision, which was described in the earlier lines, say for nearly 80 to 90 lines in that vision, how Ariel, expressed that you are the care of the what do you say, spiritual beings like us. We are the light militia in the air. We take care of your beauty, your charms, etc. But for all that speech that Ariel has given, Belinda did not listen to her, and all dream has completely vanished from her head. So next, now what is going to happen? And now unveiled the toilet stand displayed. Now, immediately after waking up, what she did is to read the letter. And after that, immediately she is in front of the what a makeup, okay, box, like toilet stand with a mirror and all. Each silver vase in mystic order laid. So Pope describes what you say, the fascination or obsession of the ladies with the makeup boxes or makeup kits or toilet tables, etc. And here he is saying that all the silver vases, maybe different containers for keeping different creams, etc., powders, etc., they are laid in a very mystic order, very perhaps very neatly or in a very impressive manner. First robed in white, the nymph intent adores, with head uncovered, the cosmetic powers, a heavenly image in the glass appears. So now, dressed in white, of course, the nymph is Belinda here. Now she adores with the head uncovered the cosmetic powers. Here, the cosmetic powers can be all the beauty aids, or we can take it as the goddess also, cosmic, who is guarding the cosmos, that is universe. That means prayers. So they pray that gods should keep her beautiful, etc. A heavenly image in the glass appears, and to that she bends. So when she actually started praying, there appeared a heavenly image in the mirror, and Belinda prays to her or to the image, and to that her eyes she raised the inferior priestess. So on back of her there is one lady, that is inferior priestess, who is standing, and she signals with her eyes. She will not even utter a word, but she signals with her eyes to start the work at her altar's side. See with the irony here. Altar, the meaning of the altar, I hope you all know. The altar is a place to worship God, a platform that is built to worship God, to offer sacrifices, etc. But here the dressing table or the toilet boxes and all the cosmetics, etc., is being compared to an altar. So it is that is means when we go to altar, with how much reverence we go, and with what kind of pure hearts you should go, and you should perform that worship with the whole heart, okay, and putting all your concentration on that. So here the word itself is very giving much message to us. So he Pope is describing here that ladies actually in those days, of course, we can take even in these days also, there are many ladies who of course dedicate much of their time for the makeups and cosmetics, etc. So here the word altar is very important. Now one lady is standing beside the toilet table, and then dressing table, and there this lady is ready, like a very attentive person, because she should start decorating her mistress. That means the lady with all possible things which are there on the dressing table, using all those, she has to make up her and make her even more beautiful than she is actually. So here she signaled, and there, what happened? Unnumbered treasures ope at once. So, immediately when Belinda signaled, this inferior priestess has opened unnumbered treasures. Ope means open at once. At one time, she opened many boxes that are filled with materials of makeup. Okay, and here the various offerings of the world appear. So now he says, what are there? All these cosmetics are being compared to something like offerings for the god. So all offerings, of course, from where they were collected, from all over the world, he says. So in the world, of course, one country is famous for one thing, etc., etc. And I told you in the very beginning that this is the time when England was expanding its empire, that is the colonial empire. So while they were occupying many nations outside Europe, they were bringing all those things from those places to their native country. So all gems, for example, India is popular for what you call precious stones or gems, etc. Or Arabia is famous for scents, etc. And so this is how many types of cosmetic powders, etc., or cosmetic aids are there on the table. So that is why Pope here says that the various offerings of the world appear. So different offerings are here, not to the god but to the goddess Belinda. From each she nicely culls with curious toil. So now Belinda is having a maid, that is the low inferior priestess, and that maid is having a great skill in doing the makeup or arranging her hair, etc. So she is combining various things, and with much hard work, this maid is decorating Belinda and decks the goddess. See, Belinda is the goddess here. So, as believers or what you call followers of God, how they carefully worship God with offering different valuable things, etc. Now Belinda's maid, taking different valuable things that are gathered from across the world, she is carefully decorating the goddess Belinda with the glittering spoil. So now whether this word is very much glittering spoil is like a paradox. So glittering, of course, we take it in a positive manner. So Belinda is being decorated and with all glitters and all those things. But is it to ruin her original beauty or to make her appear even more beautiful? So that's how actually Pope uses this word paradox here. And this casket, India's glowing gems and logs. Just now I referred, no? So India is very popular for precious stones, all gems, pearls, etc. And so there is a basket. Casket is nothing but a basket wherein or a box like thing where it is filled with all the gems, and all Arabia breathes from yonder box. As I told you, Arabia is very popular for different scents, and the scents are smelling a very good smell they are giving. And in another box, there are so many scents which were collected from Arabia. The tortoise here and the elephant unite. So now you'll be wondering, what is this tortoise and elephant here? Not that the animals are present there, but here The tortoise shell is used. The shell, you all know that tortoise will be having upon it a great, very strong shell, which is protective cover for that animal. But even after it dies, or by killing it also, people remove that shell and use it as a container. Okay, a container to mix things, etc., or to make some pins or combs, etc. And elephant, elephants used to have long tusks, and the material from the tusks, the elephants were killed also for the tusks. And why they were killed? By taking those tusks, they make bangles, they make combs, they make hairpins, etc., which are very expensive. Okay, and of course, they are having all those things transformed to combs, the speckled and the white. The combs are also very much decorated. They won't be like the ordinary combs which we use. They are speckled with precious stones, etc. And of course, elephant tusks, combs made from elephant tusks are white in color. Okay. Here, files of pins extend their shining rows. So if you turn aside, one side you have elephants, tortoise, tusks, and the shells, which are transformed into combs, etc. And one side you have gems, okay, from India, and the other side you have scents from Arabia, and even to another side, if you turn, there are files of pins. Extend their shining rows. Pins, all pins are arranged in rows. Puffs, powders, patches, Bibles, billet dukes. See here, puff, which is the thing we use to apply our powder. There are different puffs, powders, patches, and then Bibles, billet dukes. See, Bible, very ironical to bring Bible into these collections. So Bible is always there, and we all know that religion is given a very less value during neoclassical poetry. Of course, they emphasize on reason, rationality, etc. So, of course, sometimes religion may not be able to give you reason and rationality. And we have also seen previous lines when Ariel is telling the story of the fairies coming down onto the earth and dancing and making green, circles, and leaving a silver coin in the slippers of virgins or beautiful ladies, and believing those stories is actually by the words of the nurses and priests in the church. And neoclassics actually did not what do you call value these words because they lack reason and rationality. So of course Bible is there, but it is one among the decorative ornaments or decorative items there on the table. And even more ironical is besides it you find a billet doux, that means a love letter. So Belinda is having all those things together. Now awful beauty puts on all its arms. The fair each moment rises in her charms. Now, all arms means here arms and ammunition, that means weapons we use for a war, etc. Like that, here all the aids of the makeup, okay, or dressing, etc., or described by the poet as arms for this lady. Now, awful beauty. So she's wonderfully beauty, and she, of course, had all her arms. Okay. The fair each moment rises in her charms. When the decoration is going on, the ornamentation is going on, the beauty of the lady increases by steps and steps, so that she became very charming by the end. Repairs her smiles. So here you should notice that there is a particular way that you should smile. And a smile means not that you can laugh in whatever way you like, but the ladies of the high class, okay. As I told you that Pope is always interested in telling the stories of the high class people. Now ladies in the high class have a way to smile also, so they can't smile as and how they like, okay. So there is a way, so this lady is repairing her smiles. Even smile also there is, she should smile in such a way that it guarantees the what do you say, her beauty should get enhanced when she smiles, awakens every grace. So gracefully she practices to smile and calls forth all the wonders of her face. So all feelings of wonder inviting onto her face. She practices how to smile, so to appear very charming and graceful, and so that she can have a wonderful emotion or feeling in her face. Sees by degrees a purer blush arise. So that when she, of course, is smiling, there should come out a purer blush. You know, a blush is the redness that comes in onto our cheeks when we laugh, of course, with wonder or shyness, etc. So she also tries to improve her facial gestures or appearance in such a manner, and sees by degrees a purer blush arise and keener lightnings quicken in her eyes. So there should be a light in the eyes also. The busy sylphs surround their darling care. These set the head, and those divide the hair. Some fold the sleeve, whilst others plain the ground. And Betty is praised for labors not her own. While Betty is decorating, and Belinda is trying to improve her demeanor or the facial expressions, etc. Pope is telling that there are the missionary of the air. That means the supernatural missionary of the air, that they are the sylphs. All the sylphs have gathered around Belinda, who is their darling, and they are taking care of Belinda's. One is setting her hair, and the other is dividing hair, and some are folding the sleeves of her gown, etc. And even others are plaiting the gown. And Betty is praised for labors not her own. But Betty too is only visible for us, because all these supernatural creatures, that as the fairies and sylphs or elves, are invisible creatures. And only Belinda perhaps knows. Even only when while sleeping, Belinda knows that she is being taken care by these militia of the light air. But when she is alive or awake, she even might not remember that this is what happens, who takes care of beautiful ladies, and who sometimes play mischiefs with women, etc. So now this is how Belinda, dresses herself and finishes her makeup. She gets ready. So this is the Canto 1. The Canto 1 of the poem, The Rape of the Lock, is over. And in this, I hope you understood what was Pope's focus mainly. It was only to focus on the irrational, illogical beliefs of women as well as children and some of the people in the society, and how ladies, especially high class ladies, lead their lives and spend much of their time in parties, in midnight masquerades, or the royal balls, okay, ballroom dances, etc., and how they sleep till the noon, which he says just at 12 they wake up because they sleep very at very late nights and all. And then how they are obsessed with their beauty or their physical beauty especially, and how religion is just one among all other things for them. They don't value religion, and they have their own luxurious way of leading lives, and they never cared for any kinds of what do you say work and all those things. So in the first canto we will understand how Pope is very realistic and of course very satirical. Satire is to criticize the society, and of course this is the realistic picture of the neoclassic society also, which Pope offers. So with this the canto 1 is over, so let us start the canto 2. Now the canto 2, the scene changes. You know, the canto 1 full, the scene is Belinda's bedroom and dressing room. And of course, besides the dream, and that is actually narrated, it seems, by the sylph Ariel, and all the theories regarding the souls of women, etc., which Pope gives, that how vanity is there among women. No, women are filled with vanity, as per Pope. So it is not that we should agree with Pope, but that is his observation. And how he says that women, after even after death, they survive in the form of sylphs. Now fire, water, okay, air, and ground, etc. So the scene, the whole scene of the canto 1 is Belinda's bedroom and dressing room. Now the canto 1, the scene actually shifts. Okay, now where is it? Let us see. Not with more glories in the ethereal plain, the sun first rises over the purpled main. Then issuing forth the rival of his beams, launched on the bosom of the silver Thames, fair nymphs and well-dressed youths around her shone. Now it is the description of the silver Thames, which is shining because of the sun rays that are falling on the waters of Thames, the river which flows by the side of the city of London. Thames is familiar to you because we have seen Spencer also describing Thames, especially in the poem Prothalamion, where he describes the betrothal of his friend's daughters, and there the refrain is that till I finish my song, sweet Thames, run softly, smoothly, sweetly, like that he keeps saying. So Thames is very familiar to you. It is the river. Now the scene changed from the bedroom to the river, on the river. So now the sun actually rises. Okay, then issuing forth the rival of his beams, launched on the bosom of the silver Thames. Along with sun here, there is a rival for sun. Who is this rival? This rival is Belinda. As the sun shines, Belinda is also shining. She is a shining beauty. That is what here Pope compares. It is like an extended metaphor, or simile, the epic simile here. So as we have seen that because it is a mock epic, epic conventions of course are followed, and in the dream, and also the prolonged description of the what you call dressing up of Belinda, her makeup, etc., it is also an epic quality. And here also he says that of course the sun is the brightest in our nature, and yet he says that sun has a rival. And who is that? This is Belinda, who is of course very bright, okay, like sun. And as the sun of course issues on the Thames and focusing his rays let the Thames shine, the beautiful ladies also, okay, launched on the bosom of the silver Thames. So now they are traveling on the river Thames. Fair nymphs and well-dressed youths around her shone. Not only Belinda, but many others. All fair ladies and youth, youngsters, okay, young men also. All young ladies and young men, many of them, of course, are just launched on the bosom of the silver Thames. That means they are, of course, you know, um, on a voyage on the boat, okay, on a boat. But every eye was fixed on her alone. So many are there, but our heroine of the epic, that is Belinda, everyone is looking at her only. Every eye is fixed on her. On her white breast, a sparkling cross she wore. So he is giving the description what she wore, etc. She is wearing a very shiny cross on her breast, which Jews might kiss and infidels adore. He says that cross is very beautiful, okay, and the Jews will kiss the cross, and infidels are those who don't believe in God, or whose religion is a minority. So we can take others, heathens, and not non-Christians also. So the cross is very beautiful, very attractive, that even Christians will like it and non-Christians will also like it. Her lively looks a sprightly mind disclose. So her looks are very bright, and that is an indication that her mind is also very bright. Quick as her eyes and as unfixed as those. So her eyes are very quick. She is not fixing her gaze on anything, anyone, etc. And they are unfixed. Favors to none, they won't favor anyone, but they will be looking at all. To all she smiles, extends, at everyone she smiles. Oft she rejects. Sometimes she won't smile. She rejects the smile of others, but never once offends. Though she rejects, she will never offend any one in the group. Bright as the sun, her eyes the gazes strike. So her eyes are very bright like the sun, and as the sun strikes with its bright rays, Belinda's eyes or gazes, means looks, of course, will strike the gazes also. Those who are looking at her, okay, they will be struck by her eyes, the brightness of her eyes. And like the sun, they shine on all alike. So there is an implied irony here. You know, she, a beautiful lady, of course, looks at everyone, and she never fixes her mind. And that means she is very wavering. She is a kind of flirt also. And like the sun, they shine on all alike. The sun rays, of course, will fall all upon all of us equally. In the similar manner, Belinda's eyes also shine on all others in a similar way. Yet graceful ease and sweetness void of pride. But for that, but for that means the one quality of not being stable or constant or fixed, she has some other qualities which we may admire. Graceful is sweetness, void of pride. You won't find any traces of pride in her face or in her uh, appearance or behavior. Might hide her faults if Belis had faults to hide. So Pope says that if at all you think that beautiful ladies will have some faults, her faults can be just brushed away, taking her graceful ease and sweetness. If to her share some female errors fall, look on her face and you will forget them all. So if you think that Belinda is having any errors, look at her face, you will forget them all. That much beautiful is that face, and which of course is graceful, sweet, smiling face, looking at everyone in the similar manner, not fixing her gaze, etc. So if you have any complaint for the lack of what do you say, fixity, or for the lack of the constant mind or stubborn mind, if you look at her graceful ease, sweetness, etc., of course you will forget all other faults, if at all they have. He says, if Belize had faults to hide. So Pope says, Pope, of course, is very critical of women. And I told you why he was like that, because he is a man with a hunchback and a short man, okay, who could never befriend a woman. And he was always very, what do you say, notorious towards women. And of course the society also in those days, of course, looking into the lives of women in those days, perhaps he might have turned like that. So he's always, at any point, whatever opportunity, he grabs to present a critical way of women's personality. Here, of course, Belinda's personality is also presented in such a kind of manner, or in such a way where, of course, women, of course, are beautiful, but they lack, what do you say, intellect, or they lack you know a constant nature or stubbornness, etc. So if at all you think that they have some faults, their faults can be overlooked, or just forgotten, or just brush away, just looking at their beautiful faces. So beautiful faces, of course, is not an indication that the absence of what you call faults of women. But of course, looking at the beautiful face, we may ignore the faults if they have any. So this is the scene of the second canto, which is on the river Thames, where many beautiful nymphs, that means ladies, and young men are just gliding or rowing in a boat on beautiful Thames, perhaps to reach to the other shore. So, to what place they'll be reaching, and what they are going to do there, and how actually the some more description of Belinda's decoration will come in the next lines. Of course, we will continue in the next class. Let me stop the screen. I hope you will listen to the for my recorded lecture and will follow this. While reading, you try to find out some lines where the realistic representation is there, or the satirical presentation is there, so that whenever the questions like bring out the realistic nature of Pope's realistic portrayal of Pope's neoclassic society, or say how Pope's poem, The Rape of the Lock, brings out the satire. How can we consider it as a satire on the neoclassic society, etc.? If you get such questions, of course, you have to write. So, for that matter, you have to take some lines down, which, of course, are revealing these features. Whenever I am dictating, or whenever I am explaining, you have to make a note of those lines, and try to keep them at one place, so that you can rewrite them in your examination also, whenever you are answering the questions on such themes. Okay. Hope you will listen. Have a nice time.